Good morning. Hello, good morning. Am I audible?
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir, you are audible.
Great. Let me share my screen. Meanwhile, I would like to just discuss what all we had discussed in the previous classes. We have just introduced the research methodology in our first class. Then we had discussed about the research design. Okay, and meanwhile, we were also talking about sampling and sampling techniques previous day, in which one of the topics was already covered. So today I will continue from there. I will finish the um, research and sampling and sampling techniques, and also I will discuss about the another aspect, that is data collection in a research. So first of all, let, um, I've- I'm sharing my screen window or tab. Just entire screen. Yes. Share the audio as well. Can you see something? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
What is there on the screen?
Sampling and sampling techniques.
Okay, good. So that means you can see. So already I had given some perspective in the previous class, what is sampling and what is sampling technique. I'll just briefly go through once again and move forward from the topic wherever we had reached in the previous class. So as I told that every time it is not possible to, do the survey. Okay, not survey, rather census. Like for example, suppose you want to study or generalize the finding for a complete country. You can't go to each and every individual of this country and ask about that particular aspect. It will be so much time consuming, and it will take so much effort and money. Everything will be there involved in that. So because of that, it was it was realized that we go for the sampling, and about that only we are going to discuss. So can you see my this slide, second slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning,
Yeah,
sir.
this is, yeah, good morning. This is talk flow. Okay, can you see talk flow?
Talk flow. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Visible.
okay. Yeah, so thank God today it is visible. So sample and sampling techniques we have already covered a bit. Then probability sampling techniques also we have discussed a bit. In that simple random sampling we have discussed. Then today we will discuss about cluster sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and some of the other sampling techniques. Those are non-probability sampling, that is convenience sampling, judgmental or purposive sampling, quota sampling, and snowball sampling. So already you must I in the previous class I had discussed, so I will just briefly go through it. So the gist of these slides are, um, you can see from this slide. So you can a population includes entire group of the people or entire items under the study. But as I told the example of a country, like suppose you have to study some economic aspect of one of the countries, or maybe any sociological aspect, or suppose library science also you want to study um, the user behavior of entire library science schools in India. So you can't go each and every library and each and every librarian or library professionals. You can't go and talk to each and every of them. So you have to identify, or you have to do so, you have to get some of the some method or some way to minimize your effort and get the maximum results. So for that you go for the sampling. So in that there are two major concepts: one is population, another one is sample. So population includes the entire group of people or items under study, and sample is the representative proportion of that particular population. Okay, and this particular process from getting the um, from getting sample from a population, that is called as sampling. So the example so the reason for sampling is necessity, that sometimes it is simply not possible to study the whole population due to its size or inaccessibility, as I gave the example of library, schools, or maybe entire country. Then practically it is not feasible also to go always for the census. Cost effectiveness is the another reason why you go for the sampling and use the sampling techniques. And another one is manageability. Sometimes you can't manage the bigger data sets or huge data sets. So these are some of the practical reasons why we go for the sampling. So as I have already discussed about these things, I will just move forward. So there are two major kinds of sampling methods. One is probability sampling method, another is non-probability sampling methods. So probability sampling methods include the simple random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, whereas the non-probability sampling methods include the convenience sampling, judgmental or purposive sampling, snowball sampling, and quota sampling. We will go through one by one to each. And the probability sampling, when I describe, when I talk about probability sampling, so here what I mean is that each and every individual of that particular sample have the probability sampling is a method where a researcher sets some criteria so that the population the sample is derived randomly. Okay, and each and every member of that particular population gets the equal opportunity. For example, suppose I take the example of your class. So random selection means if I choose anyone, then each of you have the 100% chance that you will be chosen. Okay, I mean, uh, if you are one for of course 49 students are there, so the chance or the probability will be 1 by 49 if I want to choose any of you. But any one of you can be chosen. It's not like it's not like there is any biasness or based on my convenience that whoever is near to me I can choose him or her. Like for example, uh, since I am taking class from Sahid Rajguru, so a non probability approach can be I can choose someone who is doing PGDADLM classes, who is taking PGDADLM classes and is there in Sahid Rajguru College. But this will be non-probability sampling and kind of biased. So probability sampling will be wherever you are, any without any restrictions or biasness. If all of you have the same chance of being selected, so that kind of method if I am using, then that is called probability sampling. Whereas non-probability sampling is the sampling where people or the researcher um, chooses the criteria such that sometimes it is possible that any individual is selected, and sometimes it is possible that uh, the individual may not be selected due to certain criteria. Like for example, I told that if I look for my convenience, so it will be easier for me to go to someone who is already in Sahid Rajguru instead of going to anyone who is not here. Then again, since I had discussed in the previous class also, I will not much put much to take much time. So one of the another example given here is for example, a population of 1000 members. Every member will have 1 by 1000 chance for being selected to be part of the sample. And the advantage of probability sampling is that it eliminates the bias in the population, and every element of the population will have the fair chance to be included in the sample. Then as I told, there are four kinds of sampling techniques: simple random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, and stratified sampling. These four are the types of probability sampling techniques. Okay, so we will go to each one by one. So simple random sampling is considered to be one of the most used and best probability sampling techniques that helps saving time and effort also. So suppose you want to select anyone from this particular college, any particular college or any organizations which includes 500 employees. If the HR team decides to conducting team building activities, then it is highly likely that they would prefer taking chits out of a ball. Like for example, that there are ball games bowl games where the names of the individuals are put randomly. So if someone goes and picks out from that, then there is a chance that everyone has equal chance. Okay, so that is the example of simple random sampling. Again, another example is also I have listed here, that in a research study with a population size of 200, the researcher may assign a label of 0 to 200 and then decide to select those with an odd numbers. Thus, only the samples with odd number will be selected. This could be further randomized based on the specific numbers, such as odd numbers with only having 7 or 9 will be selected. Even though this example I have given, this is also a kind of simple random sampling, but I am giving certain systematization also in this. So this we can say systematic sampling as well. This can go under systematic sampling as well. Or other way, in this example you can see that multiple level we are doing the sampling. One first, we are doing some systematization, and next stage what we are doing the randomness, or we are randomly choosing the subject or the element. So this is called as a multiple way of sampling, or majority of the research we perform this sampling uh, using multiple methods, multi-method sampling. So when to use a simple random sampling? So there are some considerations you should keep in your mind when you are doing the simple random sampling. So you have to first of all, you should have the entire list of uh, the population, that you are not leaving anyone behind. Okay, you know everyone, and then only you are performing the sampling. Then so for simple random sampling, the first and foremost criteria is that each and every member of the population should be known to the person who is doing the sampling. Okay, then you should have the contact and access of each and every member, and of course you have the time and resources to collect data from necessary sample size. So you should have all these considerations if you want to do the sampling based on simple random sampling method. So first of all, the first step in this is define the population. Like for example, here one example is given that in American Community Survey, the population is around 128 million households who live in USA. Then the second step is decide on the sample size. Okay, so uh, this is actually how to decide a sample size. This is another question someone might ask. So there are techniques, at least one technique I can name, that is Tracy Morgan table is there. From there the population, from the population the sample size can be identified. Otherwise, sometimes researchers know the domain well. Researchers know that who all to be chosen as you know uh, you know how many people should be chosen so that the sample size becomes representative to the population. Okay, then the third one is randomly select your sample. So randomly you choose out of 3.5 million. So each address has the approximately 1 in 480 chance for being selected, but everyone has equal chance, so that is why it becomes simple random sampling. Then collect data from your sample. So for that, the example is given, like the Census Bureau first sends a letter to ask the respondents to fill the survey out online. And it's yeah, online. If occupants of an address do not respond, then Bureau calls the home telephone number. If all else fails, a representative visit the address to the person. So if and suppose 480 people are selected, then each and every person will be communicated some or other way, maybe send survey online. Then if they don't respond, then they will be called. And if then also they don't respond, the person, the surveyor or the researcher will visit to the particular household or person. Then through this variety of methods, the official collecting data for ACS managed to receive responses from 95% of those randomly selected. So it is a very high response rate. So different kind of research, the the response rate, it varies from domain to domain. For example, sometimes you get very less data. Like suppose you are doing any research or any study, you will find that majority of the time people do not respond. Okay, then you have to use multiple methods, like first you send online Google form or any kind of form. Then you send. If they don't communicate, if they don't fill, then you again, the researcher has to contact or send the reminders or send the emails for filling the surveys. And this kind of thing will happen throughout the research. This is one of the major challenges also in data collection, which I will be discussing in today itself. Then the advantages of simple random sampling is the method is quite simple to use. You don't have to put much effort in that, because you are selecting it randomly. And also it lacks the personal bias. Then but the problem with this is you should be able to know, you should know the entire population. Okay, so that if randomly you are selecting some person, it should not happen like that person is not available, or you don't know, you don't have any information, no contact of that person. So this should not happen. Then since if things happen online and non-conventional methods, it is fine. Otherwise, if you use conventional method like visit to that particular person who is chosen based on the sampling, then it will be difficult. It will be little time and cost consuming also. So these are the disadvantages of simple random sampling method. The next one is systematic sampling. So similar to random sampling, the random sample, this is also a probability sampling method where the biasness is not there. Then random sample is systematically selected by selecting samples after every fixed interval. it, so in this sample, suppose the number of entire the people, there are
Hello.
you are going to study 5,000 50,000 households or 50,000 people. And the researcher considers, or the it is considered that 1% population will be representative sample. 1% sample will be representative of that particular population. So 50,000 will, the 1% of 50,000 is 500. So suppose you want to take 500 people's response, then you fix a interval. So for fixing the interval, the sample size, the population is divided by the sample size, and we get a fixed interval. So in this case we have 100, the interval is 100. So first you take from between 1 to 100, one any number. So in our case mostly we had taken 80. So after that, every 100 interval we are taking one individual. So the first one was taken on 80, second one will be taken on 180, then 280, then 380, then 980, then 30,180, then 49,800, 49,980. So all 500 people we are taking in a very systematic way, uh, um, where we have already defined what is the uh, fixed interval, and from each interval we are taking in one individual, and that individual also had some fixed or systematic approach to be chosen. In this case, as I told that we had given, we have taken one particular rank, and that particular rank was chosen for all the fixed intervals throughout the
Excuse me, sir.
population.
Excuse me,
Yes,
sir.
yes,
Sir,
yes.
some students are trying to join, but they are not able to join the class. Can you please check what is the
Okay,
problem?
yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. Let me just get them.
They have message in the group.
Oh, okay, okay. I'll just see. I did not get any request. Mhm. Who is trying?
Sir,
Sir
Akanksha is
Naveen,
trying.
Sir Naveen Kumar and Akansha and I think
I don't know. They should be able to
Ajay
join.
Shani.
What is the problem? I did not let any of you get in. So you were able to join, na?
Yes, sir.
Tell them to try. Just tell them to try. I'll just let them in. Usually when someone tries, we get the notification that someone is trying to get in the meeting. So we just allow them. But I did not get any. So okay. If I get any other response, if I get the request, I will let them in. Okay. Meanwhile, let's move forward. So the steps to select a systematic sampling. First of all, we have to define the population, and then numbering the population entities. Okay, as I told that in the previous example, we were taking 80th element or 80th person of each and every sample in every fixed interval. So after numbering, then we have to identify the sample size. For the previous case, that researcher has identified that 1% of the population will be considered as um, representative sample. Then determine the fixed interval. So the population was divided from the sample, and then we got 100 as fixed interval, and from the fixed interval we selected the sample. Then in this case also, researcher should have the complete list of the population. Okay. Then some of the example of systematic random sampling can be calling every 100th person in a telephone directory, or interviewing every 100th person coming to grocery shop. And this particular sampling is used when there is a very big population. Advantage is again it is easy and low risk factor is there, whereas the disadvantage of this systematic sampling is information about complete population is again difficult, and then some biasness can come because each and every one that it's not completely random, so that little biasness can come in this systematic sampling. And also it is possible that everyone is, suppose I am taking 80th roll number or 80th person, and in even though we want both male and female representation, but there is a chance that everyone whose roll number is 80 or whose number is 80 to whom I choose, maybe there is a chance ki, of course this chance will be there in the simple random also, but in systematic sampling this is will get more homogeneous results. So this issue is also this also is one of the issues. Another one is stratified sampling. This is also probability sampling method. So in that population is divided into two or more subgroups based on some similarities, and then we use random or systematic sampling to select a sample from each group. Like for example, if we want to study the chocolate consumption in an academic institute, then some of the characteristics could be the age of the people, like between 10 to 15, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25. What is the consumption? Then the gender, male or female, or then department wise consumption as well. So these are the some characteristics based on which the strata will be formed. Okay, when the so when the stratified sampling is applied, so basically the population should be heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means everything, homogeneous and heterogeneous are two concepts. So when we talk about homogeneous, that means everything is equal. Okay, that equality concept is there with homogeneity, and inequality will be there or in the sample, or in the population, that is called heterogeneous. Like different age people are there, different gender people are there, they are not from the same gender, then there are different departments. So that means that particular population is heterogeneous. Then again this particular sampling can easily perform the study about specific subgroup or so steps involved in this are define the population first of all. In any kind of sampling techniques, first of all the population need to be defined, then choose the key characteristics that effectively helps in classification of population. Here what here one term is mentioned, that mutually exclusive subgroups. So the groups, when we talk about mutually exclusive, that means um, if A, B, C are the elements of group 1, then they should not be the element of group 2. Okay, then there should be different people or different, they should be mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive, someone is, if he or he is male, then he is not female. So that is how the strata is being formed. Then each and every member of that particular group is assigned different strata, and numbers are given. Then follow each sample or systematic random sampling, either follow either simple random sampling or systematic random sampling to select the sample from this strata. So here there are two types of stratified sampling. One is proportionate. So proportionate means basically a sample size of each strata, like male and female. Suppose there are two strata, um, then you are taking in a proportion, maybe in this particular example as you see on your screen, the the sample percent or the proportion we have taken is equal, that is 50-50%. Then there can be non-proportionate, where the sample size of each strata is disproportionate um, to their representation in the population as a whole. Suppose I want to study uh, certain phenomena, and more female are there in one of the in the classroom, and less male are there, male students are there. So of course we have to give more proportion to the female and less proportion to the male, to make that, to ensure that the biasness is not there in the result. So in that case we use non-proportionate stratified sampling as well. So the advantage of stratified sampling is this is specific to particular group also can be studied, and size is another thing, is like it is more convenient than making the simple random sampling. It, but the problem is, since we are studying it by making multiple strata, then it will be little time consuming and expensive also. You have to classify the mutually exclusive subgroups of entities. Everywhere it cannot be used also. Okay, so like for example, if you want to study about women, and suppose you want to study about in general behavior of people, and you came here in Shahid Rajguru College, where women are the students. So you cannot get the strata of the male. So such kind of scenarios you have to avoid the stratified sampling. Then the cluster sampling. So cluster is another probability sampling method. So where the elements of the population are randomly selected in naturally occurring groupings. Um, so what we do is in this particular probability sampling method is we divide the population into internally heterogeneous and externally homogeneous subgroups. So here the meaning of this is, you can understand from this example, that conducting a study about LIS students in India. So um, externally homogeneous means you are conducting the study of LIS students. So this trait makes them, all the LIS students will are homogeneous in that aspect, that all the students who are studying LIS, library and information science. So from the upper level, or from the top level, you can see that it is externally homogeneous but internally heterogeneous. So they are from the different place or different colleges, different institutions, heterogeneous only. Their nature will be heterogeneous only. Okay, so there are three major types of cluster sampling: single stage, two stage, and multi-stage cluster sampling. So I just explain with the example of some of the examples. Like for example, when we talk about single stage state sampling, you want to study the some user pattern of one of the colleges or one of the institution. So at the first stage you can create a cluster based on departments. Okay, only one cluster based on only one cluster. You first you divide based on, suppose you want to take the students of mathematics of Sahid Rajguru College. So one cluster you have formed. Okay, and then you do the simple random sampling or any other sampling method within that. Okay, in that department you do simple random sampling or maybe systematic sampling, and perform the sampling. So this is called single stage. Two stage maybe is two stage cluster sampling. The example can be like, suppose you want to study the study about the people. Okay, people of Delhi. Okay, if people are maybe their habits. You want to study the habit of the people of Delhi. So already you have city. Then since I am talking about people, so you can form a cluster of different colonies. That will be the first layer of cluster. And then in that colony also there will be several households. So you can just first level will be colony, and the second level of the then in that household only you can take the samples, you can take the you can do the survey with each and every household of that particular house. So that way it is two-way or two-stage cluster sampling. Then there is a multi-stage cluster sampling, which is very common. Like for example, you want to study about the colleges of India, entire India, or the students of entire India. So, so nation is the first thing. So in the nation, the first cluster you can from the states. Okay. So suppose you have taken some of the northeastern cluster or the states of northeast, all the 7 states you took. Then the cities of those all those 7 state you can take as a second level of cluster. Then colleges of each city you can take the cluster for that. So this is the third level of cluster. And then you can take the students and discuss about them, or take the survey for collecting data. So this is called as multi-stage clustering. Then first of all, in cluster sampling, you have to decide the target population, which is common for each and every sampling. Then divide the target population into clusters based on certain criteria. So this you can get from your problem statement or from your purpose of the research. Then select the clusters using methods of random selection, using keeping in the mind the desired sample size. Then collect data from the final sample group. Then it is very well suited about the larger population, like geographically widespread then you can make the sample. Some of the clusters are already found, like I gave the example of state, city, colleges. So you don't have to do there anything, you have to just narrow down the clusters. Then again, the some of everything has some advantages or disadvantages. So in this case, the clusters are, if the clusters are not good representation of population, then the result will of course be, there will be question on the validity. Then then it is little more complex because it contains much more data. It requires it's a spread across the geographical area. So of course the complexity factor will be included in this. So this was all about the probability sampling. The next one is non-probability sampling. So non-probability sampling is where the randomness, that random randomness will not be there. Okay, so where you in the non-probability sampling, we choose the sample, or we make the sample from based on certain criteria, like our convenience, or giving certain quota to the people, or maybe we can request the people to tell to whom we can ask the questions, to whom we do the survey. So all those aspects we cover in non-probability sampling. There are again four categories or four methods of non-sampling techniques. But before going to that, when to use non-probability sampling method. So when the population has certain certain attribute already exist. Okay, then like for example, suppose I am doing a research, and I don't know who all are the researchers who are doing in the similar area, and my research requires expert evaluation. So what I can do, I can, if I know certain expert, I can go to that expert and I can request him to give me the other names, or who all are the other experts in that particular domain. So they will suggest the further experts, so we can choose them also. So so we are not taking it randomly, but we are taking some different criteria, different based on different attributes, we are performing the our research. So always remember that when choosing probability or non-probability sampling is completely dependent on the nature of the problem what you are going to encounter in your research. Then mostly used in qualitative research, such as for the pilot studies, exploratory research also it is used. Then when you don't have much time to cover, or you feel like you are reaching or approaching to a deadline, then it is suggested that you go for the non probability methods. Then then again, this sample is used when one don't want that result to be generalized to a larger population. Okay, so this one aspect is generalizability is impacted or affected in non probability sampling. You cannot generalize at a very large scale using the if you are using non probability sampling. But the advantage is that as I told, that it is less time consuming, and you can do it rapidly. And researchers deploying survey in a real world, or real world for the real world problems, sometimes it is not practically possible to you know go for the sampling, probability sampling. So you can do it, you can go for non probability sampling. So also most of the qualitative research, the non probability sampling is very often used. Then of course there are some challenges, like if you don't know the overall population, then representativeness is one of the major challenges. So sometimes using the non probability sampling, you can't say that your sample is representative, because you are not you are using your convenience, or you are using non probability methods. So things are non random, that is one. Another is, there is a possibility that whatever result you have got through non probability sampling, it may give non-representative results, so you cannot generalize it through a wider area or larger area. Then, as I told, there are four kinds of non-probability sampling. One is convenience sampling, another is quota sampling, then judgmental or purposive sampling, then snowball sampling. So, coming back to the first one, that is convenience sampling. So convenience sampling is most prevalent kind of sampling. So this is nothing but convenient to the researcher. Okay, so suppose as I gave one of the example, that suppose I want to know about you people, all 49 people. For me, the convenient thing is, since I am taking class at Sahid Rajguru and a few students are from Sahid Rajguru College, I can directly approach to that student or that particular person, and concurrently I get the information. So this is called convenience sampling. Then uh, then there are the circumstances when extra inputs are not required. Then in that case you can use the convenience sampling. Then there are there is a chance that if we are using convenience sampling, then there is a chance that some bias will occur. Okay, so to reduce that bias, it is suggested that you use the convenient sampling, but in that also you perform certain level of probability sampling techniques. Like for example, suppose five students are there from who are doing PGDADLM, and they belong to Shahid Rajguru College. So what I can select one of the student or one of the person. So even though I am using my convenience, but then also I am able to reduce the bias. Okay, to get the data. So the for reducing the bias from the non-probability sampling, it is advised or it suggested that at certain extent you go for probability sampling also at or the and on the second stage or the third stage of sampling. Of course, there are so many advantages of convenience sampling. Time and then less expensive will be there. Then data collection will be more straightforward. If you are choosing data from the convenient sampling method, you can talk to only those people who will respond to your survey. So that's what I mean. I have seen many people who are doing research, they go by convenient sampling method, because this is fairly easy for them. Of course there are challenges. Suppose I don't know someone to whom I am sending him or her my survey. There is a very less chance that he or she will fill in a flash. But suppose I know someone, one of the students, suppose I know you, then I send you survey and you will fill it. So this is the advantage, another advantage of convenience sampling, less time consuming. Then participants are more easily available when there are few. Then these are the some of the advantages, but the disadvantage is there will be bias, biasness is there. Then unable to generalize external validity of course will be the questionable in convenience sampling, and then could be more challenging to break down the result into demographic. Again, the challenge of generalizability will occur in convenience sampling. Next one is quota sampling. So quota sampling is also in quota sampling also you can what, imagine you are conducting a survey to understand the opinions of residents in a city regarding a proportion urban development project. Suppose some urban development project you want to study from from the residents of Delhi. So instead of using random sampling techniques, what you decided quota sampling. Okay, so because this will be practical, more practical or more easy for you. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to identify um, that what could be the key characteristics like age, gender, about the urban development product in Delhi. So age, gender, and neighborhood. Suppose I take these three criteria. So age, also there will be multiple age, like 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, something like that. So now I will assign the quota. Like for age based, 10 to 20 I will take response from 5 or 10 people. 20 to 30 I will take 50 people response. Then 40 to 50, maybe 60 people's response. So I will collect the data and assign the quota to each and every group. So based on certain characteristics, maybe gender or age or socioeconomic status. Suppose based on economy, I'm assigning assigning the quota. So those who are having those whose income is below 18,000 per month or below 50,000, 18 to 50,000 as a second. So number of participants will be decided based on certain characteristics. And all of those characteristics, researcher as per his understanding of the domain, he or she will assign the quota, and that quota will be used for the data collection as well as for the analysis. When you are performing the further analysis, if more quota is assigned to certain group, it has much more weightage, more weightage in the analysis also. So so when we use the quota sampling, we use the quota sampling because it allows the people to sample a segment of people who are particularly relevant to the study. So those who are relevant will get much more weightage also in this case. Then when things are restricted to a particular time period, the research budget is low or survey accuracy is not a concern, so you can use the quota sampling, giving some particular characteristics more quota, or some characteristics less quota. Then it is simple to administer, then cost effective, and quota sampling is also when when you have to complete the research, quota sample is used. Then multiple study groups can merge or can compare using the quota sampling strategies. That if suppose you have given more quota to particular age group and more quota to different age group, so for both of the age groups, what is the difference and all that studies can be compared, and that study can be compared based on such quota, such characteristics or such quota. Then the advantage is again, it is not random, so biasness will there. Then reliability will always be questioned in such kind of sampling. Non-probability sampling techniques. Passive sampling or just mental sampling. This is easy method to conduct any research. Like for example, I just want to biased because suppose you already have a certain notion in your mind, and based on that you are doing some judgment or doing the collecting the data, then of course the result will have some biasness. So here I have given that the researcher wants to study beggars, and he knows that in 3 areas of the city where beggars are found, so only those 3 areas he or she will go and perform the study. So this is another there might be, there is a chance that there are 100 other areas where he can perform the study, but as per his judgment, he decided to study study the phenomena in those 3 areas only. Then then when we use the purposive sampling, basically purposive sampling is very common in the research, and people, considering the time and other budgetary and other constraints, instead of going for the, in many cases, instead of going for the probability samplings, they go for the convenient or quota or maybe the purposive sampling methods. So the thing is, this can be used, okay, this purposive sampling can be used if your target population, if your target population is highly intellectual individuals, okay. So certain kind of biasness can be mitigated. Suppose suppose you want to study, um, you know uh, study about the about something, and you have chosen the intellectuals or the people who have great experience, who have a vast experience about that particular phenomena. So even though purposefully you have chosen that particular person, but his or her vast knowledge or vast experience in the domain will really help, help you to get the much better or less, less irrelevant result or more valid result, okay. Then it requires specific information from a particular, so these are the reasons for, I have listed down very generic reasons uh, why, when the non probability sampling, particularly the purposive or judgmental sampling, can be used, okay. Then there are different kind of different types of purposive sampling, like maximum variation or heterogeneous. So this sample is selected to provide as much information as possible into the event under the examination. Then homogeneous purposive sampling, then in this it is selection on the basis of some certain shared characteristics, like as I told about the beggars example. Then typical case sampling, where the researcher wants to study a trend, for the trend study also it is used. So basically these types are decided based on the data types or the nature of the population, okay. So sometimes it is used for the expert sampling, sometimes total population sampling is the in general idea about this in general about idea about any kind of sampling. So for that also it is used. So these are some of the basis. The basis for these types are um, the nature of the data or the nature of the population. Only these purposive sampling is decided. Of course, the advantage is same as the previous sampling methods. Disadvantage is also kind of same, only because biasness is the major problem. So here earlier the biasness was there from the point of view of the data also, but here the biasness might be there from the point of view of the researcher itself. Okay. Then reliability and validity is another thing which is questionable when we talk about the purposive or judgmental sampling. Next one is snowball sampling. So snowball sampling is again a non-probability sampling, but for the verification or for the evaluation purposes, it is quite often used. Okay, for example, I myself use snowball sampling in my research. So because I was not completely aware about the people who all are the experts or doing research in my area. Of course, I could find from the Scopus and other bibliographic databases based on their publications. So those publications which were similar to my research area, I choose some of them first, and then from them I requested to tell the other researchers who are working in the similar area. As you can see from the picture also, one person is there. He was told he was asked to tell the other experts in the domain. So other experts were also then that other expert again told three other experts, then those three experts told other three experts. So that way multiple numbers or multiple people uh, got chosen for the sampling. So this is called snowball sampling. Okay. So it's like there is a game, those who are from Himachal, those who have visited the Himachal, so they you snowball games are also played. You make the ball from the slow, one person throws to another one, and it then from there it goes to other people. So that is how snowball sampling is named and performed. This is quite useful. And snowball sampling has three types: linear snowball sampling, where one person is telling other is telling other is telling next one. So one person is telling only one expert, and it is going on. Then exponential snowball sampling and exponential non-discriminative snowball sampling. So researchers will get the information about the one one expert will to tell to other experts, to other maybe, then that particular expert will tell the multiple. So that way it goes like nuclear reaction, and you are not discriminating anyone, taking each and every one for the sample. Then exponential discriminative snowball sampling is another, where instead of selecting everyone, whoever is being told from the expert or the people, instead of choosing everyone, you are discriminating or not taking some of them and taking the remaining others. So that is called as exponential discriminative snowball sampling. Of course, the the use is like it is used for the evaluation and other purposes, and but it is difficult in finding participants for their studies, because you might not people might not be, even though you have selected based on someone else recommendation, they might not be agree to participate in your research. Okay. then then that particular that expert or the person or the participant you are talking, or he is suggesting another one, he or she might have some bias. So because of that biasness also, the research result will impact. Then some people will will not even they will not be even willing to identify it. Then some secretiveness is another thing which will be there in this kind of research, this kind of sampling technique. Advantage is that when you perform this research, then it gives you access to the hidden population, because some or other person will tell the expert names. Then time and effort will of course be reduced. You can sample some of the it is quicker to the sample hesitant subjects, in the sense ki some people who are not very much outspoken or not in the domain directly involved in the research in the domain, but indirectly they are being included in the research, such people will also come. Because most of the time, suppose you want to uh, observe, or you want to do the study on certain population, so suppose researchers, and those research, there might be researchers who are regularly publishing papers. So for them, it is easy for you to collect their publications and go and approach them. But there are the researchers who publish gray literature only, who do not publish directly uh, the publication in mainstream publication houses. They are not publishing. So such kind of people can be identified in this using this particular methodology. Then then there will be, of course, there will be, when you calculate the when you do the sampling from the population, whenever you do the sampling, there will always be a sampling error due to since you are doing sampling, there will be always some error. Okay, because you are not taking entire population, and that error is always, if you have studied inferential statistics, there you can find a certain level of confidence. Okay, like 5% confidence level estimate some value. So 5% confidence level is due to sampling error. Okay, when you collect the data, you will have some sampling error, some biasness can happen, or some because entire population is not taken, there is a chance that 100% accurate result will not come. So 95% or 90% accuracy level you are performing the research. So that is the case with this particular sampling method also. Sampling error will be there. So sampling error will be there even for probability sampling also. So it should not be misunderstood that key probability sampling will not have sampling error. Sampling error will occur if sample has been formed. Okay. Then then there are some sampling challenges, like chance of bias will be there. Then difficulties in selecting truly or representative sample, it is another challenge. The need for subject specific knowledge, it is required. Researcher should be having some specific subject knowledge. Otherwise, the generalizability will not be possible, or the subject, now if subject knowledge is not there, the domain experts or the people who are the real representatives, you will not be able to identify. Then there is a chance of sampling units. If sampling units are changed, that is another challenge. Ch- like for example, from one unit to another unit, if you want to change the samples, it will be difficult. And there are different units of sampling. Sometimes you are sampling the individuals, sometimes you are sampling the data. So these are the another challenges which will come. Then sometimes you will not be able to do even perform the sampling, because that is called impossibility of sampling. So always it is not possible to do the sampling. Okay. Grouping, or I mean, of course, in that case, impossibility of sampling, when we talk about impossibility of sampling, this you should understand in the terms of probability. This is challenge from the probability sampling method only. To mitigate that, we have the non probability sampling. Sometimes when we are not able to do the probability sampling, we go ahead with the in non probability samplings to get rid of impossibility of the sampling. So choosing of sampling technique is mainly basically it depends upon the population data, whether it is heterogeneous or homogeneous, then the purpose of the research, then the your actual problem of the research objectives. Okay, so these are the things which lead to the sampling techniques, or if you want to choose any particular sampling technique. So with this, I think um, this aspect is now covered. Now let us discuss some of the um, practical aspect as well. Let me just share. It is already shared. Actually, I wanted to take the class on data collection and sampling both, but unfortunately, I could cover only sorry, sampling. Data collection, then we have to take. I will cover in the next class. Meanwhile, I will upload the um, this assignment and the PPT in the Google Drive. Okay, you can collect from there. Then in this class, practically, I wanted you to, you know, uh, you, since I have not taken the class, it is difficult to discuss the practical thing. But then also, some things you are already aware. So I will just talk about that. All of you know that how to create the Google form. Google form you must be knowing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So data collection or performing the survey or doing the, you know, for making the questionnaire, you can use some of the tools like as you must be aware
SPSS,
about Google Form. Yeah. SPSS can be used for, actually that is for
analyzing the
data
data.
analysis, social studies data
Analysis.
analysis. But instead of that, I say, um, for the data collection, we can use several forms for making for making questionnaires like Survey Monkey is there, then Google Form is there, then there are other platforms are there, apart from using apart from using uh, of online tools like uh, Google Form or Microsoft Forms or Typeform or Survey Monkey. Woofu is there, Joho is there. There are so many, you know, uh, tools to do to make the questionnaire or for the particularly for the survey. So you can use any of that, like Microsoft Form or Typeform or Survey Monkey or Jot Form, Woofu or maybe Joho. Any of them you can take and make certain questions related to some of the area of the research. So here I have taken for the survey, I have given you the idea that design a questionnaire with questions about customer satisfaction, service quality, and preferences of one of the canteens near your office or your home. So you can identify some of the questions, that what could be the questions for for taking the response about the customer satisfaction or service quality. Okay, or preferences one of the canteen over other canteen. So you can make such questions using Microsoft Form or Google Form, Typeform or Survey Monkey, any other form. And then you can perform that. You can share it among yourself or other with your other friends. They will fill the data, and mostly I suggest you to take the closed-ended question in this, and mostly so that you can get the quantitative data. And some of the questions you should include which are open-ended questions also, so that you get the feel about the qualitative insights as well. And again, I have mentioned here, use the appropriate sampling technique for data collection. So suppose you want to collect data about customer satisfaction or service quality or preferences about one canteen over the other, over the another canteen. So what specific sampling technique you will use for the data collection? So one can be non-probability is easier, will be convenient, or maybe if you go by judgmental or judgmental sampling, these things are quite easy for you. You can easily do, but think about some probability sampling methods. Okay, so like suppose you want to do this customer satisfaction, then every third customer you can choose as a quality, as a systematic sampling technique from so that you get less biased result. Okay, so this is the first one. Then other are observations, interviews, social media analysis. So I give this assignment, and I want actually other assignments you do for your knowledge. But the last one, what I have mentioned is social media analysis. So what you can do, you can analyze social media platform for mentions and reviews of the maybe our college itself I have mentioned, but you can make any other college. um, okay, at any coffee shop or any place, or I mean coffee shop, I think this is misprint, I will correct it. About you can just go to the social media page of School of Open Learning, University of Delhi, maybe Instagram or Facebook or any other, if it is available, and then you can analyze the mentions, reviews, how many reviews it is getting, and where all places it is mentioned. Then you can extract the insight from the comments and ratings to different kind of videos, or different videos, or maybe posts, whatever comments it has got. So that way you can do a social media analysis of University of Delhi, School of Open Learning, University of Delhi, sentiments, user sentiments, um, or such kind of study you can perform. It will be fairly easy as a practical assignment or practical approach towards what we are covering or what we are teaching. Okay, so I think with this we can close today's session. If you have any question, you can ask. Just stop sharing. Is there any question or any clarification? Okay, then we will meet in the next class. Meanwhile, I will upload the PPT as well as the practical assignment, so that you can practice at your own. See, Google Form and all, I don't think I need to take any extra or specific class on that. You can do it trial and error. If you find any issue or any challenge, we can just discuss about it. And when we start the practical classes offline, or when you visit as well, we can maybe someday we can discuss about this as well. But you try to learn. Of course, I think all of you would be knowing about the Google form and other things. You need to know the you need to identify the questions, what kind of questions you have to prepare for a certain condition. Okay, that is the actual practical exercise. And the same can be implemented in your any form, Google form or Microsoft form or SurveyMonkey, any of them. Okay, then have a nice day.